for Derek McInnes, for Hearts, for the supporters, and I'm really pleased for Lawrence Shankland as well, because I do believe, and I have believed for some time, that ever since Derek McInnes got that job, it's what Shankland has wanted. So great news in terms of, you know, how Hearts will shape up at the start of next season. As I said, they'll take nothing for granted, because this has been a very complicated and a bit fraught at times, this whole negotiation. But it does seem as if we're in the final kind of furlong now, and I would expect that Hearts will make an announcement of some sort, if not tonight, then tomorrow, to confirm that Shankland, their talisman and captain, is staying at the football club. And, you know, we've talked a little bit now about the Hearts feel-good factor, a bit of momentum, the opportunity that Derek McInnes has here, working with Tony Bloom, Jamestown Analytics, and what Hearts could look and feel like at the start of next season if they can get really off to a solid start. And I think that Derek McInnes would have seen all along the keeping of Lawrence Shankland as absolutely essential to that. And he could be just hours away now from getting that deal over the line. So major boost for Hearts.
I should say as well that our colleague and record sport transfer guru Scott Burns, he reported earlier today that there was a late lucrative bid from Turkey for Shankland, which he's turned down to, you know, hopefully stay with Hearts. But aye, if they do get this over the line, Scott, it's massive for Hearts, huge.
Can we rewind 24 hours to what Scott said last night when you asked him if Shankland was going to stay at Hearts?
No, I did. I need to hold my hands up. I thought that was just a gut feeling. I thought just the longer it went, as Jacko says, it has been kind of fraught with difficulty getting this deal over the line. But listen, I'm absolutely delighted that it's going to get done. Delighted for Shankland. As you say, massive for Hearts and the supporters. But I think as well, Keith, it feels like a big victory this for Derek McInnes.
Massive, yeah.
In there as manager. I mean, a lot of talk about, you know, the Tony Bloom investment, but how would Derek McInnes work with a director of football and Graham Jones, you know, Jamestown Analytics suggesting players and, you know, guys. Derek McInnes has always been a guy that's kind of, you know, looked at the British markets and stuff. So knowing that Hearts were going to bring in some foreign players, that you wondered how that would work. But I think the fact that he's gone in there and, you know, one of his top priorities, if not his number one priority, would have been to keep Lawrence Shankland. I think we know that. And for it to look as if at one point, as if it wasn't going to get done and he'd be going elsewhere, I just wonder if Derek McInnes has almost stepped in himself here and said, no, look, this has to get done. No, for us to get to where we want to be, for me to achieve what I want to achieve here, we need to get this guy tied up. And as I say, if it gets announced in the next kind of 24 hours as we expect, then I think it's massive for Hearts, but also a massive win for McInnes.
Yeah, and Scott, you're absolutely right, because if you rewind to the point where Derek McInnes was actually getting the job at Tynecastle, Shankland was gone at that point, and I don't think he was coming back.
Seemed that way.
And we had the story, I think that Derek McInnes was officially unveiled on the Monday, and I think on the Friday, we had the story that his priority number one, his first objective, Scott, so you're absolutely correct, was to reopen a channel of communication with Lawrence Shankland, you know, enforce upon his own board the importance of putting together a better financial package, making this deal doable. So absolutely, and you know, as Brendan Rodgers, Scott, always says, the days, hours and minutes leading up to when a manager signs a contract at a new football club is when he's at his most powerful. It's when he's able to lean on people to get people to say, yep, because by this point the club has decided they want you as the manager. So you've got this little window of opportunity where you can really put a bit of pressure on. I think that Derek McInnes has used that, and I think that he's said to Hearts, look, I know that you think Lawrence Shankland is away. I get the feeling this ship has sailed. I'm asking you now, let's have another look at this. Let's revisit it. And as you said, Scott, I think it's a bit of a triumph, an early triumph for Derek McInnes, that not only has he managed to convince Hearts to get him back to the negotiating table, but he's now appears to have driven this negotiation to the point where Lawrence Shankland is ready to put his pen to paper, and that's. I think it's you know, we're wanting our biggest clubs in this country to be the best version of themselves, and I think Hearts with Lawrence Shankland next season will look very much like the best version that Derek McInnes can put together with the squad that he's building, the changes that are getting made. I think I've said it for a while now, for a few weeks. I really do see exciting times ahead for Hearts next season.
And the best thing is, Jacko, probably for Derek McInnes and even for Hearts, is that they don't need to go and get a replacement for Lawrence Shankland. There's always
exactly.
that.
And where do you find one of them?
That's what I'm saying. There's always that jeopardy, that uncertainty. Even when you've got the help of Jamestown, where they're specifically targeting guys who fit the criteria. No, Hearts would have been looking for an experienced striker who leads the line, can drop in, his link-up play is really good, but can also get goals. No, they might have found someone, but you just never know. It might have taken a new guy time to settle. The best thing about this for Hearts is, in a purely simplistic sense, they don't need to do that anymore. Lawrence Shankland guarantees them goals next season. They don't even need to worry about it. I mean, I'd go as far as saying Shankland on a new deal with McInnes as manager, the way they're going to play, barring injury, guarantees you 20 goals next season for Hearts, which is priceless, really.
Can I ask you both, this is a wee bit of a cheeky question that doesn't really get asked, right? A lot of people talking about the fact that Shankland's 29, people saying he might move on, this is his last big contract and what have you. See the deal that he'll be getting at Hearts, do you think it'll still be, I mean, not as lucrative as some of the things he's been offered, but it'll still be a very healthy deal, won't it?
I think Hearts will have had to have got very close, if not beat the financial packages on offer elsewhere.
So more than 5 figures a week, do you think?
Well, put it this way, what we're hearing is he'll become the highest paid player in the club's history.
So it must
when he signs this deal.
Aye.
It'll be a considerable offer, but that's the price of a guy that guarantees you goals. I know that Lawrence Shankland didn't have a great season last season, and there might have been very many issues surrounding that, and at the point that he didn't know where his future was going to lie. And by the way, I think that he felt a little bit insulted by the offer that Hearts did make him. I think there was a lot going on in Lawrence Shankland's head, and the fact that he had a manager that didn't seem to want to play his best striker as a striker. I think you'll see the version of Lawrence Shankland that you saw a couple of seasons ago when he was really prolific. And I just think it really helps to build that momentum and the feel-good factor going into the campaign for Hearts.
Mark says in the comments, and by the way, if you want to get involved in the comment section, involved in the conversation, hit us in the comment section below.
Hit us.
Listen, I'm young in that, you know what I mean? The young lingo. Mark says, will this be another sliding door moment for Rangers, though? And Thomas says, Keith, do you think Hearts will finish second behind Celtic?
Well, I've said it already. I've gone on record as saying that I think that'll be Derek McInnes' ambition. I don't think he'll say it, because why would he? But I think that he will look at this as a realistic opportunity. If Hearts can start off in the same sort of vein as Aberdeen did last season, now that's a tall order because Aberdeen's first 11 games was absolutely incredible.
It's mad,
but if Hearts can get anywhere remotely close to that, given the extent of the rebuilding work that's going on at Ibrox this summer, squad not stadium obviously, I think that he will see an opportunity to get himself in between the pair of them. And as I've said previously, Derek McInnes, when he was at Kilmarnock, would look upon one-off games against Celtic and say, I can have a wrestle with him. And frequently he did.
Aye.
So with the financial backing from Tony Bloom, they've recruited heavily already this summer, and now the cherry on top of the cake, Lawrence Shankland stays. I think you'll be looking at the pair of them thinking he can cause them nothing but grief next season. And it wouldn't surprise me at all. Do I think Hearts will finish second ahead of Rangers? I think it's entirely possible. I wouldn't say it's probable.
It's so hard to say with so much.
Well, we don't know what Rangers are going to look like, and we don't know how long it's going to take Russell Martin to assemble his squad and get them.
Aye.
But I do think there's this opportunity at the start of the season And I fully expect that Derek McInnes will have pinpointed, targeted that already, and realised that there is an opportunity here.